أجل نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Understanding the direction of revival movements of last century. So first thing is revival movements, revival, ahya. In Islam we use this word as ahya. So the understanding of this word ahya or the revival means the word has been translated from ahya, from this hadith where Allah, Prophet ﷺ talks about man ja'ahul mautu wa huwa yatlubul ilm liyuhyiya bihil Islam. Liyuhyiya bihil Islam. Whoever in a state where the death meets him while he was seeking knowledge, liyuhyiya bihil Islam, to make Islam alive. So this Islam is not, to make Islam alive is the word used by Prophet ﷺ, liyuhyiya. So that means that the time is going to come when Islam will not be alive. This is the first thing. If you connect these couple of more hadith with it, bada al-Islamu ghariban wa sayaudu kama bada'a ghariban. That Islam, a time will come when Islam will become gharib. There's another hadith that you can be connected. La yabqa min al-Islami illa ismuhu. That the time will come that the only thing remain in Islam is going to be its name, Islam. So let me go back to the first hadith. من جاءه الموت وهو يطلب العلم ليحيى به الإسلام فبينه وبين النبي أنبياء في الجنة درجة واحدة. So whoever is seeking knowledge and he dies while doing that, and the purpose of seeking knowledge is ليحيى به الإسلام, so that he can make Islam alive. So between him and Anbiya, there's going to be a darajatan wahida in the Jannah. It's going to be one daraja. So the direction of seeking knowledge has been given here. And it's significant because on the Day of Judgment, out of 5 questions, one question is going to be how much knowledge you gained or acquired, and what did you do with that? Vasco da Gama, he found ways to the warm waters, and one after another, these European colonial nations came and they started taking down Muslim countries, Muslim lands, and to an extent that completely all lands that belonged to Muslims were been taken by colonials and was been ruled by them. बस्ती का कोई हद से गुजरना देखे, इस्लाम का गिर करना उभरना देखे, माने न कभी मद है हर जज़र के बाद, दरिया का हमारे जो उतरना देखे. Maulana Altaf Hussain Hali, he wrote about it. He also writes, ए खासा ने रुसल वक्त दुआ है, उम्मत पे तेरी आके अजब वक्त पड़ा है, जो दीन बड़ी शान से निकला था वतन से, परदेश में आज वो गरीबुल गुरबा है. So this is the story of zawal of Muslim. We fell and we came down right at the bottom. This zawal started from the time of Prophet ﷺ. After he left, obviously, the Khulafai Rashidin was there, but there were disputes and issues, and there were wars and all that turmoil at that time too. And till this time, when Muslim lands were been ruled by colonials, till that time, the whole period, this is zawal, people stood up against this zawal. We call them mujaddideen. They tried to rectify the problems. And Aimas were the great Aimas of Islam. What they were trying to do, they were trying to rectify. The problems of those times when the Islam when the political Islam was not fallen, the rulers were Muslims, Sharia was been ruled, people were been ruled by Sharia, Islamic laws. Political, socio-economic environment was been run and governed by Quran and Sunnah to a reasonable extent. And when these Aimma came, fine, there was dhulm, there were injustices, but overall picture was not that bad. And their struggle was based on rectifying those patches, those areas. So the work of Mujaddideen was to restore and rectify those weak areas. This was not happened before, that Muslims were ruled by Ghairullah, people of other religion. This never happened before. When this happened, the Batil took over completely, the political arena, and then economic aspect of life, and so on and so forth. Islam, I mean, that was the time when people start thinking that, we lost it. Then this thought started of revival, to reinstall it, to revive it, to give it a new life. In Bari Saghir Pako Hind, in the subcontinent, the last war was an 1857 war, when Muslims gave their full fight to against these colonial powers. They lost it, and while losing it, they lost the hope that they can save this aspect of collective hemisphere of Islam. They won't be able to save it anymore. So they thought that, we're not going to be serving colonial, or we're not going to be accepting their ideologies in socio-political, economic hemisphere. So what we're going to do? We're not going to be, we're going to not going to start looking like them. Wazakata, we're going to stay away, and all their other way of life, we're going to stay away from that. So they chose consciously, and written in their books about this sunnah of Ashab-e Kahf. And they said that, let's save our iman at least. So they went in that direction, and they closed themselves into their own world. And they created a very strong network of madaris, especially in Bari Saghir and Indo-Pak. The strong madaris network which they created, nobody created elsewhere in the Islamic world, which Pakistan and India, they have thousands. In Pakistan, only 38 to 40,000 madaris, 38 to 40,000 madaris network. And then India, and then Bangladesh, and, maybe more than that. So it was a tremendous effort and work and a movement on this understanding and ideology that we can educate people. Through education, we can revive Islam. And we see after 1857 till today, it did not revive Islam. So Muslim countries, then what happened? This political arena, people, it's been 100 years. Colonial were ruling a lot of places, a lot of lands of Muslim. People started waking up, and they started a political struggle. There was a vacuum. So local national leaders popped up to fill that gap, which was left over. And political struggles came up, freedom struggles, so that we can get rid of these colonial masters and install our own people to run our own affairs. We don't need outsiders, right? So one after another, Muslim lands start getting freedom, and some of them got they got their own constitution, and some of them got even Islamic constitution, real Islamic constitution. So this idea was understood, that Islamic constitution brings Islam. And when we say brings Islam, means that in political, socio-economic hemisphere of human life, there's going to be a just social order and peace and harmony amongst people. And that is only be possible once you eliminate the corruption. Political, socio-economic corruption, you remove it. Then it is possible. You create an environment where people get what they want. At least some necessities. So, some of them got even Islamic constitution. They thought Islamic constitution will solve the problem. It didn't. Pakistan has Islamic constitution, don't we? Our preamble starts with, the supremacy belongs to Allah. And it also further goes down that no legislation shall be done repugnant to Quran and Sunnah, but did it bring that peace and justice of Islam, the adl of Islam, adl ijtimai, which we believe and claim that this is the best, most transparent, most just system. No, it did not. Education, system of madaris, freedom. Did freedom bring? White masters gone, brown masters came. With a baggage of corruption, tremendous corruption. Did it bring Islam? No. Freedom did not bring us Islam. Constitutions, our own constitution didn't bring us Islam. Islamic constitution, to an extent that Pakistani constitution is on the top, did it bring Islam? In fact, corruption is multiplying day and night in Pakistan. Beside Kashmir and Palestine, everything gone. If you see, beside Kashmir and Palestine, rest of the lands got liberated. They got their own people, at least, to run the show and to lead them. As Surah Ma'idah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ and فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ. That if you don't judge people with what Allah has sent down, or you can say with adl qist, then this is fasiq, this is kafir, this is zalim. We have zulm in our lands, Muslim lands. That's why a lot of people migrated to other lands in search of justice and peace and prosperity, where you can earn halal money and feed your children. Look at the condition. Look at the condition. And amongst all these political liberation, freedom movements, again, Pakistan stands different. In Pakistan, they had this multiple nations living together, and they came up with this slogan, Pakistan ka matlab kya la ilaha illallah. What is the meaning of Pakistan? Which is la ilaha illallah. And that slogan brought tremendous political power and supported a secular man, Qaid-e-Azam, who later turned to be religious, gave him a tremendous power, and he ended up securing this a land on the two-nation theory. People who were thinkers, they realized that this is not bringing Islam. Something is wrong. So a third level, an ideological revival. The revival went to this level of ideological revival. And it started with this idea of establishing the kingdom of God, Hakumat-e-Ilahiyya ka Qiyam. To make Allah supreme, to make the word of Allah supreme, so that Allah, to make Allah the ruler. And in this ideological revival domain, Allama Iqbal stands tall. He was inspirer. He ता खिलाफत की बिना दुनिया में हो फिर उस्तवार ला कहीं से ढूंढ कर असलाफ का कल्बो जिगर मिनहाज रिसालत पे कायम हो जो खिलाफत इस दौरे सियासत की एक यही दवा है. So through his poetry, through his khutbah, through his lectures, he tried to inspire people, Muslims, that realize who are you, what is your role in this world. सबक फिर पढ़ सदाकत का, शुजाअत का, अदालत का, लिया जाएगा तुझसे इम्तिहान दुनिया की इमामत का. Trying to tell us that what is your role, realize. Colonials are ruling you and you became a slave nation. Your mind has become a slave's mind. Come out of it. Realize you're the Imam of the world. He not only saw this dream and inspired people, he was too much sure about it. आसमा होगा सहर के नूर से आईना पोश और जुल्मत रात की सीमा पा हो जाएगी. फिर दिलों को याद आ जाएगा पैगाम सुजूद. फिर जबी खाके हरम से आशना हो जाएगी. आंख जो देख सकती है, आंख जो देखती है लब पे आ सकता नहीं. महवे हैरत हूं कि दुनिया क्या से क्या हो जाएगी. शब गुरेजा होगी आखिर जलवाए खुर्शीद से. ये चमन मामूर होगा नगमाए तौहीद से. He was so sure. He was confident. This is going to happen. He believed in that. But he was not the first one who raised these slogans. The first person to raise this thought, ideological revival thought of Islam, was Shah Waliullah Dehlvi. He was the first one. And his slogan was at that time, Fakku kulli nizam. That is colonial, the nizam which they have imposed, break it. For which a lot of people misunderstood that, that to break everything, destroy everything, and go back 1400 years ago, start riding camels. No, this was not what he meant. It was elimination of that system and installing their own system. So the idea then further, this thought, this political thought, which was revival, ideological revival thought, Khuda ki zami pe Khuda ka nizam, and was taken up by Jamiyat-e-Ulema Islam, and they still support this Khuda ki zami pe Khuda ka nizam. This is mentioned in their logo, which is on their flag. Khuda ki zami pe Khuda ka nizam. That on the land of God, there should be a system of God. Iqbal, he not only inspired people, he not only had the definite vision with surety that it's going to happen, he also gave a method how to do that. Nashaye darweshi dar sazo damadam zan, chu pukhta shavi khudra bar saltanat jam zan. That banashaye darweshi dar sazo damadam zan, that in order to do that, become a darwish. Janoon se hoga ye kaam. Become janooni in that, Dedicate yourself in that. Don't think what people are thinking. किसी मलामत करने वाले की मलामत से नहीं डरना. Devote yourself into this cause. Take your thought to people. Tell them again and again. Let them call you. You are insane. Don't stop. And then, chupukhta shavi khudra, when you become strong, solid, a sizable power, a power to reckon with, barsaltanate jamzan, and then go and fight with go and hit it to Jamshed, the king. And this thought is not his thought actually. This thought it has a reflection in the manhaj of Prophet ﷺ. And all the revolutions has the same kind of idea. So practically, to make this into a political party, a physical, practical aspect of this thought was Abul Kalam Azad when he raised his party. Sultanate Ilahiya ka Qiyam, Hukumate Ilahiya ka Qiyam. And he got disappointed. The response he got from the scholars. Sheikhul Hind requested scholars of ulama of all sects of life support him, accept him as Amir. But guess what? Guess what we did? We didn't unite amongst each other in this domain. I mean, the traditional scholars, they didn't support him. And they refused to accept him as Imam-e-Hind. He got so disappointed that he closed down his Jamaat and he went and joined Congress. Very sad part. So imagine this political vacuum that was created by us. That people, non-religious people, secular people, they realized, they came forward, nobody's coming to rescue you. You're going to help yourself then. If nobody's there to help you, whom you're going to help you? So this is what they did. This thought of further, it went down, it exploded. After 8 years, Hassan al-Banna laid the foundation of Ikhwan in Misr. The thoughts initiated by these scholars went there. And his objective was again to establish the kingdom of Allah. All these thoughts, if you see the political thoughts, because the political arena, Islam was gone. So this, lot of people joined him. Ikhwan immediately started growing. They were enthusiasts. But what was lacking was the depth of ideology. It was weak. And Sayyid Qutb then filled that gap, especially his couple of books which he wrote, Fi Zill al-Quran and Social Justice in Islam. Those books were really transforming, and it gave Ikhwan a depth of understanding, ideological depth, and it really strengthened them. And Sayyid Qutb got his fairs from Maulana Maududi, and from his book, and especially his book which he wrote, Al-Jihad fil Islam. Because what he writes, Sayyid Qutb, in his books, Social Justice in Islam, is Al-Jihad fil Islam, written before him by Maududi, rahmahullah. In 1941, Maulana Maududi laid down the foundation of Jamaat-e-Islami to revive Islam. It was a pure Islamic political organization, movement. It was a movement. Let me remove the word political because he didn't use the word political, but Islamic movement to revive Islam and ideological, Asuli Jamaat. And in his speech in 1940 in Aligarh, he actually spoke about in detail how to establish the state, Islamic State, how to establish the Islamic State. So this Aligarh Aligarh also is a movement, and it's an ideology that, the thing is, maybe we are weak because science and technology is the arena where we didn't prosper. And the colonial powers are sitting here and ruling us because of our weakness in science and technology. That was the main idea, that that we should prepare, educate our youth so that they can reach.
Whose idea was this?
This ideology, this movement, Aligarh movement.
Aligarh.
Again, on this understanding that once we educate our youth, we can reach those heights. And we can revive Islam and our glory It didn't work. It didn't work. Yes, it developed people, a lot of people, and they enjoyed the positions which they enjoyed, but it didn't help Islam, in terms of revival. It didn't. So what I'm trying to say here is all these, you see, different attempts in different direction to revive Islam failed. Don't get offended when I say failed, because obviously it brought some good. Every movement brought some good. I'm not rejecting it 100%, but the success is 100% success is not there. I mean, the success which is supposed to be not even a minimum level, we couldn't achieve what we intended to achieve. We couldn't. Same thing, same idea was then Maulana Amin Ahsan Islahi took forward the same idea of Maulana Maududi establishing the Islamic State, his Aligarh Khutbah. And he wrote a book, Dawat-e-Deen aur uska Tariqa Kar. He talks about Dawat-e-Deen and he talks about, the Dawat of complete Deen. Why are we giving bits and pieces? Supposed to be a complete social, political, individual hemisphere and collective hemisphere of human life. This is the complete picture of Deen. And how to reach there. He also talks about that, for which Dr. Israr Rahmahullah, he took it to the next level. He took it to the level of Manhaj-e Inqilab-e-Nabawi into his booklet. He said there are 6 points, 6 steps of Prophet ﷺ's struggle. And he said that this is his sunnah and this is one of his biggest sunnah. Why do we ignore this sunnah? So this thoughts kept on growing in other Muslim countries too. In Iran, Dr. Ali Shariati, he also came with this political thought of revival. And in his thought, he spoke about red Shiaism.
What's that?
Red Shiaism, more detail, then I have to go to other Shiaism models, and I'm not going there. You can Google it. Ikhwan, two big, Jamaat Islami in Indo-Pak and in Misr, Ikhwan al-Muslimin. They got really, they were mass people. A lot of people joined them. They became sizable, big movements. They have now support and power and people standing behind them. So Ikhwan, they supported army, and their first idea, which was a nusra of army, completely failed. Failed to an extent that army is the problem there in Misr. Army caused all this trouble. Look, the first elected president. They alleged him for things, and instead of alleging, okay, fine, if a president done something, arrest him. Why are you arresting the whole government, right? So they ousted him, and there was a coup. So Jamal Abdul Nasser, they supported Jamal Abdul Nasser and the army, and they went against Israel. They supported, Ikhwan supported war against Israel, and which West realized that they have gathered a lot of power to deal with them. So they used Jamal Abdul Nasser against them, and they got a lot of leadership eliminated of Ikhwan, and Ikhwan went into tough times. And they took heavy losses, Ikhwan. But in Jamaat Islami, it was a better situation here to get them sucked up into the politics. And politics is a dirty arena. There's a lot of mudslinging, allegations, lies against each other. And the other parties, they allege Jamaat Islami, and they they damaged their image in general public, and it's been 60 years almost, if I'm not wrong. The political experiment failed. It failed, unfortunately. Even some of the experiments, IGI failed, then MMA failed. Rather, some of the constitutional amendments, with serious kind of constitutional amendments of Pakistan proposed by General Musharraf, was approved and accepted by MMA. Unfortunately. Very sad. So, this thought that a green revolution is going to come was been taken care of by the West. They took care of it. The Jamaat Islami here, Ikhwan there, they took care of it. The threat of green revolution went away. Also, they created jihad in a couple of places and sucked up those people who had any potency to fight. So instead of doing jihad for establishing a just social order, a merciful order, we end up doing jihad for defending countries by invaders, and a lot of jihadis were sucked in and consumed. This is the fact, unfortunately. Dr. Srar was working on this idea, Hukumat Ilahiyya ka Qiyam, when Maulana Amin Hasan Islahi joined him, and he said that, it's supposed to be Iqamatuddin is a better terminology. The same idea was given this terminology as Brother Mazhar was teaching today in the morning. Iqamatuddin, this word was chosen and given by Maulana Amin Hasan Islahi. Ji.
Can you ask a question? So when we look at Jamaat Islami and Akhwan al-Muslimin, and they were basically trying to what word should I use? They were investing in Akhwan al-Muslimin was investing in army, and the Jamaat Islami was basically depending on the political system. So, did they even know? Did they have any plan what they wanted to do? Because to me it looked like they were just going with the flow, looking for opportunity. It was opportunistic approach instead of having a solid strategy or a plan, right? So, as you mentioned before, they even sucked in those people also who wanted to do something, and instead of utilizing them for the establishment of Deen, they utilize them in different wars, which didn't serve anybody, frankly speaking, right?
So what's the question?
So do they even have any plan?
Who?
The Jamaat Islami and Akhwan al-Muslimin.
Yeah, what plan? The plan was the plan was that in political arena, in politics, if you want to give your political opinion, we have evolved to a level that we can have a peaceful method of putting forth our political opinion. We call it vote. Right? They understood this thing. They understood right. There's just nothing wrong in this understanding. The thing which was wrong are other things, which I don't have time to go there. But their understanding was that in Pakistan, let's suppose, or in Misr, in Egypt, all Muslims. And this is the haqq of Muslims to choose their own Khalifa. And we have a system there, which is called a political system, a voting system. We want to tweak it, change it, improve it, but we can't do that unless we come into power. So the peaceful way to come into power, we don't want to impose our power on people. If they don't want us, fine. This is a just and fair way. Nothing unjust about it. Islam doesn't want you to go out imposing Islam on those people who don't want Islam. This is not Islam. So they agreed on this thing, and with a unanimous agreement of Shura and Amir, they came to this understanding that, let's become political. Let's go into mainstream politics. Anyway, so let's come back, because as a Tanzeem, we don't agree with that. Dr. Sahab got separated from them just because of this reason, and he said that, going into mainstream politics is going to bring a lot of mudslinging on us. It's not going to be helpful. So anyway, let's continue. So Muslims, instead of, okay, don't worry, we have Islamic constitution, we have Muslims ruler, the process is going on over the period of time, the Islam will come. So take it easy. Let the system run. But what happened over the period of time? More and more people are becoming westernized. Western ideologies are creeping in. Hedonism, capitalism, otherisms, materialism, physicalism, realism, all these isms started creeping into our next generations, generation after generation. And what happened? Waza mein tum ho Nasara, to tamaddun mein Hanud, which is Hindu. Hanud means Hindu. Tamaddun means culture. Waza is how do you look? Waza mein tum ho Nasara, और तमद्दुन में हनूद, ये मुसलमान हैं जिन्हें देख के शर्माएं यहूद. Said by Iqbal. This is what happened. And recently, when the veil of Saudi Arabia got off, we realized how much westernized they are from within. So even the kingship of Saudi Arabia has failed to stop their people from getting victimized from these ideologies. There's a serious problem. There's serious problems with our understanding of Islam. That we can't communicate with people that Islam is better than hedonism and physicalism. It's better, more rational, more logical. We failed. But again, it goes to educating people. So is the educating people, we saw a lot of movements which were educational movements couldn't bring Islam. Couldn't bring Islam. Then the Muslim lands, when they got liberated, this thought came, okay, fine, we got liberated, but Islam is not, where's Islam? So one Jamaat stood up and they said, it's Islah is what we need. Let's do Islah. It's been almost 100 years they're doing Islah. Guess what? Did we stop? Forget about reversing. Did we even stop the wheel of westernization? No. It didn't work. Yes, a lot of people are now praying Salah, that's fine. Khair always, remember I said that. Khair, we are not denying khair here, which came out of all these struggles. I'm not denying that. What I'm saying that this methodology which we adapted to achieve something, and the idea was, when everybody will change, everything will change, system will change. It's rather going against this principle, بَلْ أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ, repeated in 9 times in Quran, and other also ways of Allah telling us that majority is not going to be changed or transformed. It's not. Dawah doesn't work only dawah doesn't work. No, alayhi salam, 950 years kept on working. Only dawah doesn't work. Dawah didn't work, education didn't work, spread, aware people, awareness didn't work. For instance, let's talk about financial system. We talk about financial system and the injustices in financial system, right? And fractional reserve banking and de-pecking of gold and, as a standard and, the corruption in this financial system and, we talk about it. And if you see today, it has been widespread already, right? Did it change anything? No. Is it not widespread already that riba is haram? Did it change anything by spreading? Spread out to people, spread the information. It didn't. If you see Prophet's struggle, his struggle was focused amongst his own people to develop those people instead of spreading the information. 2/3 of Makki Quran was already there. Did he send out people with some surahs? You take some couple of surahs, and go and spread, go out. The whole world, people are dying in kufr, in shirk. Go save them from hellfire. Did he? So these struggles were good struggle, on a good note, good intention. But these struggles somehow didn't get us where we wanted to go. Prophet's struggle was a 23-year struggle. And Allah's promises, وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَيَسْتَخْلِفَنَّهُم فِي الْأَرْضِ أَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. All these promises are doable. What we need today, this is the idea. Idea is, Prophet did in 23 years. Maybe it's going to take us generations to do. This is an idea. This idea, what happened? Actual idea was, Prophet did in 23 years. His struggle, he came down at the level of human, ordinary human level. What he did for us, his actions is an uswa for us. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. It is an uswa for us. It's a doable thing what he did. It's a doable thing. Absolutely doable. Let it praying tahajjud, let it be 5 times salah, let it be a saum, let it be hajj. Whatever he did was at the level of ordinary human being. When people were hungry, he was hungry. When people were suffering, he was suffering. When stone hit him, he bled. When a sword hit him, he bled. The struggle was a mere human level. He was the last of the prophets. And then this job was handed over to people who's going to believe in that. Is it possible? Think about it. That if it's not, a job is given to you which is not a doable job. Think about it. Is it fair that I give you a job which you can't do it? So the basic idea, it's a doable job in 23 years period. But since we failed, so we came up with a new understanding of this thing. Prophet ﷺ, he did 23 years, maybe it's going to take us 200 years or a couple of generations. So if you put all these what I spoke, put them in a sequence, there is a progression. So there's a progression. So we chipped in. I don't mind this thought. But this thought, if it eliminates the first one, that's the problem. That's the problem. We should understand that, it's doable job. It's a doable job in 23 years in any environment which is a non-Muslim environment. He started not in a Muslim environment. He started in a non-Muslim environment. It's a doable job. And if we are failing, we need to learn from the experiences of our brothers who were before us, who struggled and failed. We have to figure out, rethink, sit together, do the fikr. Do the fikr that what are we missing? يريدون ليطفئوا نور الله بأفواههم والله متم نوره ولو كره الكافرون. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك ونشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. So, brothers, if you have questions. Yes.
Comment. You threw light on different movements and if you structure it, what was their motto? Motto was clear, but their mission statement was clear, that establishment of Deen of Allah in a political sphere, establishment of state. But can we draw some similarities and differences between their, ideologically they were same, but their mode of action was, can we draw similarities and differences, and why they failed? Is there any,
Sorry, this is not a question. This is not a question.
No,
This is a research. You
This is
are
a
initiating
comment. I told
a
you.
research, right? कोई सवाल है कोई आसान सा तो पूछ ले मतलब this is
methodology push different से ये push रहे हैं
methodology. The lecture is gonna come. जी.
I have two questions. One is related to that you just said 23 years of professor's life is useful for us, and as a human we can also do it 23 years. The question is, Rasul along those 23 years got a lot of help directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And he got Sahaba, he got Ansar in Medina. That was a big kind of bounty, and support for him. So when we say we can do it in 23 years, how we justify that? Number two.
Very good question.
Yeah, number two, because 23 years is not a long time nowadays knowing things. Number two, Shahid Bhai asked a question, and my question from that, which is the actual question, is that when we look at the movements, right, there are people and forces who are actually actively looking into any spark in any of the movements, and they are actually going to that level and stopping them. Whereas the people who are trying to do this job are all volunteer peoples. So they don't have the skills, number one, upfront, not skill of, establishing a whole system and support for that. Like education system, they don't have that level. They don't have any physical support of people, right? Then how we see that this is going to happen at a ground level in reality, in real life?
So it's the same question, right? It's the same question.
They are similar, but I'm just connecting Shahid Bhai into a question. And
Yeah, the thing is, you're identifying weaknesses. You're identifying weaknesses, and you're also talking about the supernatural support with Prophet from God, right?
many places we know.
Listen,
Got it.
I don't know about you, but I myself in my life, forget about collective life or forget about my tanzimi zindagi, even if my personal life, I see God's intervention, Allah's intervention. I see miracles, and it blows my mind off. Wow. Yesterday, I didn't share with anyone, but brother Adnan Mahfouz, I shared with him. Yesterday, I went for Jummah Khutbah, to lead a Jummah Khutbah. There was a confusion. Another brother came and he was leading. He said, he was prepared. And I said, oh, what happened? I'm supposed to give khutbah. He said, no. They told me, but you go. I said, no, you go. I said, no, you go. I said, listen, brother, to be very honest, after looking at your documents, you worked harder than me. You should go. He finished his first khutbah. He asked somebody to give azan. Somebody came with a slip. And it was written on the slip that, offer ghaibana namaz-e-janaza for Mursi. And he didn't know how to pray, how to lead it. He came to me, he said, brother, can you lead it? Namaz-e-janaza of Mursi. Whoa, I immediately connected. That Allah wants to connect people somehow. I can see that. This is not the first thing. There's a history of seeing things. ittaku firasatul mu'min. So, I mean, to be very honest, if you ask Allah to show you things, He can show you things. But then, if He show you things, then your criteria is different now. In fact, I pray to Allah, don't show me things. Maybe if you show me things, I'm supposed to have that kind of iman. And what if I fail? Do you understand? So, I mean, I answer your question that Allah's support and help and promises are there today too. We are not ready for that. We have to get ready. And the weaknesses you identified. You identified the weaknesses, fix the weaknesses. I mean, if you say, I don't know what weaknesses are, that's a question. Now, when you know the weaknesses, try to fix it. Allah will help you. Yes, brother, any other?
Maybe I couldn't phrase it properly in my previous question or comment. Can we draw some lessons from the failures and achievements of these movements which you mentioned? One.
Yes, yes.
Number two,
This is what we're supposed to do. I said that we have to learn from our brothers who were struggling. What I came up with this, I said that, listen, let's start with this node of understanding. It's a doable in 23 years. If it's not doable, obviously you can't do anything. Right? But if you start with this thought that it's a doable job, then you will find ways of doing it. Frustration is not a way, but fikr is a way. Then you go back and learn from all the brothers what they tried and where they go wrong and what they missed and what you're supposed to do. And we are working on a model based on the principles, right? And based on the hadith, the Prophet said that the khilafa ala minhajil nabuwa. So talking about, are we going to go back to camels? What are we going to implement? What model of khilafa we have? A king's model, a kingship model? What model we have? So we should have a model which is a transparent, just model, right? And we are working on the model, and in that model we also we have some suggestion for manhaj, and we learn from all these people to come up with this model, right? Yes, brother.
Yeah, we talked about different movements, Islamic movement, right? So here, I think a thinker or a philosopher is totally different than the person who executes something. In all these movements, if we see, like Maulana Maududi and Sayyid Qutb and all these people, so these people, they came up with an ideology. But I believe that they didn't know how to execute that. And this was a failure, whatever for example, immediately after Maududi Sahib, he established the Jamaat Islami. Maulana Manzoor Nomani left him. Amin Ahmad Aslai, he was, I think, among the last one who left him, right? But most of the ulama, they left him. Why? Because they said that we followed you because you wanted to establish Islam. How? By propagating Islam the way Dr. Isar Ahmad, he followed that method. He was not in politics. The problem with ulama is that once they start something, they forget about the motive, with what motive they started that. As you said, you actually rightly used that word, sucked in, Their ideology is not strong enough to face the Western ideology. You understand what I'm saying? Not strong. Why? Because they can only come up with an ideology, they don't know how to execute that. So Iqbal, actually, when Iqbal said, Quwwat-e afrang az ilmo fanast, az hami atash tarabash roshanast. Mean the power of afrang, the power of West is ilm and skills. So when we say that ulama after 1857, they just took refuge and they wanted to live the life of Ashab Kahf. So I disagree with that. They did not want to live the life of Ashab. They wanted to prepare people for the jihad. And they took part in that after that. If we see in 1866, when after that ulama, they took part in jihad. Because changing the thought, it is more important. This is what Prophet ﷺ did. They did not force people. to follow me. They changed their thinking process. The problem with us is that we, as you said, that we want to stop the Western wheel. No, how can we stop that? It's an onslaught. How can we stop that? We cannot. But we have to create a shield around us so that we get protected. So this is my opinion. Because you use the word that that ulama, after that they wanted to live the life of Ashab Kahf.
I can bring you the name of the books and the name of the scholars who wrote this.
This is my personal opinion. Yeah, I mean.
This is their claim.
Yeah.
They wrote in their books to claim this.
Yeah.
That why they are not dissociating themselves from the main political arena.
Because Maududi Sahib,
But
he was against.
Especially this Deoband Madaris, the big chain of Madaris they set up. But then from this Madaris, lot of organizations popped up in field of jihad, in field of politics. The two mainstream Jamaat Islami. If you go back, the roots, lot of roots are connected with Madaris. Then Jamiat Ulama Islam. Then Maulana Fazlur Rahman, then jihadi organizations, Taliban, who are Taliban? If you go back, connected to Madaris, then Maulana Fazlullah, Sawat, connected to Madaris, right? And then go to about this Fatawa thing, go to Jhang, full time, this kafir, that kafir, that kafir. Lot of branches, probably, yes. They came up, they picked up their niche, worked in that, excelled in that. Yes, that's there. But their own books, initially at that time, they wrote these things. I should have written the name of those scholars who wrote that book, but I'll get it for you, inshallah, if you want.
So, I mean, Maududi Sahib, initially he was against democracy.
Initially, yes.
But after that, he came up with an excuse, okay, if people, they decide that they are going to choose you, then it's okay. Right? So he had like, I mean, when you get, politics really, it's a dirty game, right? It sucks you out. So, I mean, even like greater ulamas, they got trapped, into politics. So, I mean, I don't understand this thing that, once you start a movement with a good intention, right?
Why do you change?
Why do you change that, Why do
Yeah,
you
that's a good question for him, or he's with Allah subhanahu wa
Why do you
ta'ala.
change that?
So, yes, brother, you have a question. Okay.
Can I?
He was raising a hand for.
Take a question first. Yes. I was pointing on him.
My question is, how do you explain the movement of Ahmed Shaheed and Sir
Sayyid Ahmed Shaheed.
No, yeah.
Sayyid Ahmed.
Sayyid
Yeah,
Ahmed
Sayyid
Shaheed. How do you explain that?
That was
What do you mean by how do you explain that? Bro, I mean, there's a full lecture, you want that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my time is over. Let me go. Any
That was a
question?
local movement, sir.
You come here. We're starting the other one. Yes.
I had a comment
Come.
on.
point
Azerbaijan.
Come here.
No, the point I'm trying to say is two things. You are right that when ulama in the modern times, when the problem of the Western modern civilization started, they wanted to fight back. But in the fight back, there were two groups that, you see, fundamentally there was two divergence, two ways of, not only, see, you only covered Indian subcontinent, right?
Mostly.
If you look at Africa, the Sanusi movement, in Senegal, in different places, fundamentally there were two bifurcations in the fight back. I'm using my own word. That's not, is not a proper word, but I just. One is that we should revive Islam in a traditional way. The other was we should revive Islam seeking what the Western world has achieved. You see that both of their objective is the same: revival of Islam.
वही सर मदारिस मूवमेंट एंड अलीगढ़ मूवमेंट वही डिविजन आर सेम द आइडियोलॉजिकल एक्सप्लेनेशन व्हिच आई गेव
Exactly.
all those areas which are possible I gave that
1835 Indian. Let's look at India.
चाहे वो दावा से हो चाहे एजुकेशन से हो चाहे किसी तरह से हो चाहे मॉडर्नाइजेशन से हो साइंस से हो
When we're talking about revival, one thing that we always forget, and I totally agree with him, is education of the ideology. What happens is you want to collect people who are not ideologically ready. That's the difference between.
सर एजुकेशन भी है दावा भी है सब
No,
कुछ
no,
है
no, no,
मगर
no.
सवाल यहाँ पर ये है ना कि आप
No,
डिस्कनेक्ट
hold.
एजुकेशन में मदारिस के एजुकेशन ने डिस्कनेक्ट कर दिया एक मूवमेंट से अपने आप को ना पॉलिटिक्स में है ना मूवमेंट की
Let
शक्ल
me
इख्तियार
finish,
की
let me
जी
finish. See, the problem is this. We are not educating people who have deep conviction in the Aqidah of Islam. Iman is lacking, whether it is Maududi's movement or anybody's movement. When Sayyid Qutb was hanged, how many people were with him?
I think none.
How many?
यार अच्छा अभी हम दूसरा टॉपिक शुरू कर रहे हैं ये आपकी बातों से लग नहीं रहा कि हम वी आर गोइंग टू लैंड एनीवेयर
No, I just want to.
इसको बंद कर दें
I just want to make sure